You know, you think of these long lines in all the three states voting tonight, Idaho and Utah and Arizona, and you would assume they'd be long anyway. But did what transpired in Belgium today make them longer? That more people are engaged in this porous border issue, who gets into our country, who is in our country. It is something that I was discussing earlier today with former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He was worried about it then, he's worried about it now, and maybe it takes an incident like this, Mayor, right, to put it all sharply into focus. People are galvanized by this issue of security.
Well, yeah, and by a president who seems to be totally ignoring it. Remains in Cuba to watch a baseball game when a NATO ally is attacked by foreigners. I mean, that's a violation of the NATO treaty.
Well, you know, they say that what terrorists do is very different than a nation attacking a nation. I'm just saying what they say. And that they had argued,
yeah.
If
so what they say, okay, well, finish.
If they'd come running back.
Finish all the nonsense.
Okay. If they'd come back, the president came back running to the White House.
Oh, yeah, right.
It would have looked like the terrorists were setting.
Yeah. If the president came back to the White House, it would have looked like a really big incident that all these people were killed. Hey, Mr. President, it's a really big incident. Suppose when 9/11 happened, I decided I'd go home to Gracie Mansion, just so it wouldn't look like a big attack on New York. I'd look like an idiot, right?
But that was on this soil. That was here.
This is a NATO ally. We have a solemn treaty with the country of Belgium that an attack on Belgium is an attack on the United States of America.
So you equate an act by terrorist. I just want to be clear. And you're the lawyer. I'm not.
Oh, an attack on France, an attack on Belgium, an attack on
he should have gotten his butt back to the White House.
Is an attack on the United States of America by foreign forces who have an overriding objective, crazy though it may be, to impose a Muslim caliphate on us. We should defend them.
How so?
The president should be back in the White House. Right now, he should be in the Situation Room, and he should be telling his national security advisors, give me a plan to wipe out ISIS.
I thought we were doing that in Syria, not effectively, right?
Come on. No Biden time limit. Biden invented time limits in 2006. Worst thing that ever happened to us.
Guys, what do you think of that argument?
You don't put a time limit on a war. If we put a time limit on the Civil War, Lincoln would have quit in 3 years. If we put a time limit on the Second World War, we would have quit at the Battle of the Bulge.
But didn't George Bush say that there is no time limit?
Well, George Bush was wrong. No time limits on wars. Here's the time limit.
But he said there is no limit. This is the battle of our life.
We have to destroy ISIS. That's what he should have come back to do.
Can I just say this? I think you're right that you can box yourself out of victory by creating false timelines, but by the same token, you can be so vague and wars can be so protracted that they become so bloody and deadly and meaningless. Why don't you have and encourage Congress to declare war on ISIS, and perhaps that's the greatest foundation we could have for an actual strategy in this country.
You don't think a Republican Congress would vote a declaration of war against ISIS in about 2 minutes?
Well, they haven't.
The Republican Senate and the Republican House?
They haven't.
But they would. If he would go before Congress and say, give me a declaration of war against ISIS, I do not think Paul Ryan and McConnell would oppose that.
Mayor, why do you think that this president has done so little to battle ISIS? First of all, pulling our troops out when it was clear the vacuum was going to lead to something bad, if not ISIS. Why do you think he's doing this?
I have no idea. Fort Hood, workplace violence. Idiotic, absurd, moronic. What else can I call it? It was a jihadist attack by a self-proclaimed supporter of Muslim extremism. San Bernardino, France, Brussels, I don't know, what's next? Chicago, Washington, New York? 12 lines in the sand against Assad. Meanwhile, Assad killed 250,000 of his own people under Obama's watch. This is a disgrace. It is disgraceful. And I will tell you this from 35 years of dealing with Islamic terrorism. The more you back off, the more they attack.
I want to ask you about NATO and how critical it is to support a NATO ally like Belgium. Donald Trump has just talked about questioning our role in Europe and in NATO. And I know that you advise him. I know that you support him.
I love Donald. Donald's a great friend. NATO is our most important treaty. It's sacred. It was the thing that got us through the Cold War. Harry Truman started it. Ronald Reagan used it to tremendous effect, and I worked for Ronald Reagan. We owe every one of those countries our support if anything happens to them.
All right, I want to pick up on it. I do. Yeah. I'm going to quickly have Bill's here to address this bigger issue. How far do we go then with this? Donald Trump draws the line on getting quite as aggressive as what the mayor pointed out. We shall see how that all falls out as we wait for results from 3 states where the lines are long, and so's the wait.